Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Some people do stupid things. Don't do stupid things. You are about to hear my opinion. Do your own research.
Gen X, we've got a brand new Mandela effect. This is not a movie, literally something we know is fact. Before bringing it to you guys, I even ran it by my coffee girl this morning. I told her what was actually truth that we know today. Let's establish what we know as fact. We all know this is the daddy longlegs. We were also taught it's the most venomous spider on the planet. Incisors are too small to break through your skin, so we didn't have to worry about them. That's the way I remember it. But then I headed over to Google. See at the top, I Googled, are daddy longlegs poisonous? No, daddy longlegs are not poisonous or venomous to humans. And this is where I want you to start commenting. It's a bad education system. Where did we learn that they were the most poisonous spider on the planet? I headed back to Google. They're known as harvestmen. These are arachnids that are not spiders. They have a single body segment, 2 eyes, and lack fangs and venom glands. So their fangs aren't just too small to puncture the skin. They don't even have them. And you can't be a poisonous spider if you don't have venom glands. Where did this all start? Or is this a Mandela effect? But as of right now, I'm starting to question everything that we were taught in school. Where do you stand on this?
So I'm not quite Gen X, but I am an older millennial, and I totally remember just knowing that daddy longlegs were super venomous. They just couldn't bite your skin. Now, in my generation, we had a thing called Mythbusters. So if we had it, then the generation previous to ours, Xers, y'all had it too. So that's where I learned that that was wrong. But yeah, do you remember that?
A major earthquake hit Southern California today, just right there by San Diego, and they're feeling it all the way up into Los Angeles. Yeah, at the time of me making this video, it only happened a couple hours ago. A friend from that area texted me today, said the whole area went nuts. It was shaking all over the place. Skeet scatting and shabdabbing. The effects of this earthquake being felt from San Diego right into LA and everything between. And there's a lot of area out there, not just Gavin Newsom's hairline. Yeah, a lot of area. So people are legitimately freaked out. Yeah, they're freaking out. Because you're just sitting at home, if you still have a home, and everything is shaking. And then it got me to thinking about something. This, the mega volcano in Alaska, that they think is gonna blow at any day. Hey, notice that guy? He's pretty damn good looking. Now, I'm not a bumbling idiot. I know Alaska is thousands of miles away from Southern California. But they are kind of in a line together. You can make a straight line from San Diego right to that volcano in Alaska. So are there some shenanigans going on? Or did all the Kardashians just fall down at the same time? I don't know, but this is something. And in the coming days, I'm sure we'll find out a lot more. Okay, Booshkis, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo!
That happened on Monday, and that was literally my daughter's response. She's like, we're at work, and she's just, and I wasn't, where she was, and I come around the corner, and she's like, earthquake, earthquake, and we got all the alerts on our phones, and I'm like, I didn't feel anything. But yes, Shabadoo Joe, Shabadoo indeed. I love that man. He always has great stuff. However, you can draw a straight line from San Diego to just about anywhere else in the world. But it would be interesting if there was some kind of correlation between that volcano they're saying is supposed to erupt and the earthquakes happening. Although it is California, we're always in earthquakes. It's just all the time.
Lauren Sanchez, Katy Perry, and Gayle King launched into space today, part of Blue Origin's historic all-female flight alongside NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, astronaut Amanda Nguyen, and filmmaker Carrie Ann Flynn. The mission lasted just 11 minutes, reaching 62 miles above Earth, crossing the Kármán line, and experiencing a few glorious minutes of weightlessness. But online, the mission's gotten some unexpected heat, not for the science, but the style. Critics are calling the crew's glam looks over-photoshopped, and the mission a DEI stunt. Sanchez, who helped design the suits with luxury fashion house Monse, says she wanted to reimagine the flight suit. Elegant, yes, but with a little spice. Katy Perry added, space is finally going to be glam. We're putting that in astronaut. Love it or not, the crew made history, taking glam, grit, and gravity to new heights.
Well, I am so glad that there was an event that's able to bring Americans together and just united against the BS PR stunt that this is. because everybody has something super negative to say about this stupid thing that I didn't even know happened until yesterday when I found this information, and I'm like, what? Nobody has anything nice to say, and I'm just eating it up. Here's some more not nice things people have to say about it.
Katy Perry went to outer space today in what people are calling one of the most useless space missions of all time. This is the capsule in which they went in, and it was an all-female crew, which is the first time this has happened since 1963. And people are upset about this, but what they don't know is that they're kind of wrong for the reason they are upset. So they went to outer space for about 11 minutes in total, floated around a little bit, looked out the window, shared a few laughs, and brought a flower with them. And they screamed and laughed the whole way back down. And when she landed back down on planet Earth, she held the flower up to the sky, kissed it, and then kissed the ground, as if she went on some sort of important mission. Now, the reason that people are upset is because they thought that this was all paid for by taxpayer dollars, which is not true. And there was no government funding. This was a private mission. She flew aboard the Blue Origin New Shepard, which is developed and privately funded by Jeffrey Bezos. People can argue that Jeffrey Bezos gets tax cuts, so technically it is taxpayer dollars, but it was not directly funded by the government or taxpayer dollars, so they were only there for 11 minutes. As annoying as it was, the intention was to inspire space tourism.
11 minutes and some change, and they were above this certain line thing where they were in space for like 3 minutes. And it's to encourage space tourism. For whom? Like the ultra wealthy? Because that's the only people that can afford to do that kind of stuff. So I don't know who they're like catering to, but the fact that they're all like, ooh, all women, oh, that just drives me up a damn wall. Because who cares? You're super wealthy. That's why you get to do it. It just, ugh.
Can almost guarantee you missed this headline, because if you hadn't, you wouldn't be watching me on your phone right now, because you would have yeeted your phone directly into the wall. But if you're one of the millions of Americans pissed off about high egg prices, you need to hear this, because we just found out the nation's largest egg supplier just reported quarterly profits of $509 million. That is 3 times their quarterly profit for the same quarter last year. In fact, before egg prices went absolutely egg shit, this company's average quarterly profit was $5 million. But for the last 4 quarters, that jumped to $169 million per quarter on average. And this all happened because egg prices tripled while the government was giving bailout money to egg producers to help offset the losses. Money that was given to those producers to help keep prices down. But you know why prices didn't stay down? Because nobody said they had to. That's it. That's free market capitalism. And it is a perfect example of one of the greatest Republican lies of the past century. That lie being that the government shouldn't regulate businesses because through free market capitalism, businesses and industries will regulate themselves. The theory is that if you make food and then that food poisons people, then people won't buy your food and they'll buy food from people who don't poison you. Then eventually, after a whole bunch of people are poisoned to death, there will only be companies that don't make poisoned food. Theoretically, this is great, right? As long as you're not one of the people who died. But in reality, this just doesn't happen. Not ever, not once, not reliably. Instead, the same thing is what just happened with egg farms and egg prices. The biggest players in any given space survive the things that take out the smaller players. Then those biggest players use that scarcity to drive up the price. The exact same thing that happened after the Great Recession. All the little builders and developers went belly up. So the biggest developers that were still left, they snatched up properties and homes for pennies on the dollar. And those corporate landlords jack up your rent while paying lobbyists to blame government for not building more houses. The moral of the story, of course, being that the free market is a rabid wild animal, and thus regulations exist for a reason. While they're far from perfect, it seems Democrats are the only ones interested in implementing them.
That was a little more political than I anticipated it being, but that's okay. You made a very valid point. Egg prices are just created by the company that made a lot of money off of charging us more, saying, oh, there's an issue. And remember when I said that egg farmers are like, I don't know what's going on. We got plenty of eggs, and they're just jacking up the prices. Yeah. As far as regulation, I mean, the FDA regulates themselves anyway. They make their own regulations. And if Democrats are so in tune with these regulations, why are egg prices going down everywhere else except for California, which is a Democrat-run state? And egg prices are still crazy. Fuel prices, housing, all of the costs are still insane. So I'm not sure where I lie as far as who does what in Republican Democrat regulation stuff, but I do know that the egg thing I said it.
The Order of the Golden Dawn, a name that echoes with mysticism, hidden rituals, and esoteric knowledge. But who were they, and why did they draw some of history's most curious minds? The Order of the Golden Dawn was founded in 1888 in London by three Freemasons, William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Little, MacGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. Inspired by ancient Egyptian and mystical traditions, they created an organization devoted to the study of magic, alchemy, and the occult. Members of the Golden Dawn believed in accessing higher spiritual knowledge through secret rituals, meditation, and the study of mystical texts. Their practices combined elements from Kabbalah, astrology, alchemy, and Christian mysticism, creating a unique path to enlightenment. Over time, the Golden Dawn attracted influential figures from various fields, including poets, artists, and scholars. Members like W.B. Yeats and Aleister Crowley found inspiration in its teachings, which greatly influenced their work and ideas. The Order of the Golden Dawn's teachings remained a closely guarded secret. Members progressed through levels or grades, each revealing deeper layers of mystical knowledge. But internal conflicts would eventually fracture the group. By the early 1900s, disputes over leadership and philosophical direction caused splits within the order. Aleister Crowley, who joined briefly, had a particularly contentious relationship with other leaders, and his practices led to further controversies. Eventually, the original Golden Dawn dissolved, but its influence was far from over. Though short-lived, the Order of the Golden Dawn left a profound impact on modern occultism. Its teachings have influenced many modern spiritual movements, as well as popular literature and media, fueling the fascination with mysticism and esoteric knowledge.
I'm aware of Aleister Crowley and his workings, but I had never heard of this Order of the Golden Dawn, and I'm assuming it's where obviously he said it's where he branched off from. He just went in a different direction. And it seems like it's a lot of spirituality, probably magic, and a little dabbling in the demonic arts. But that's been going on for centuries. Because as long as there has been good and evil, God and the devil, there's always going to be people on both sides exploring those avenues.
Today, there is a very powerful secret society called the Brotherhood of Saturn. They are probably the most important secret society on the face of the earth. They are connected behind the scenes to all kinds of powerful organizations, governments, secret societies. A scientist named Norman Berglund has written a book called The Ring Makers of Saturn. And in that book, Norman Berglund, the scientist, shows actual pictures taken of the rings of Saturn, and one in particular has some sort of a vehicle, space vehicle, that is creating another ring. And it's not quite finished, so there's a ring on this side, and there is some kind of a space vehicle creating the ring, and it's almost ready to connect the ring, but it's not quite. So we know that the rings are artificial. Somebody's made them. Maybe the rings could be some kind of a communication device that can send out or receive from extreme distances, hundreds of light years away, the darkness associated with the planet Saturn and the occult religions. If you do any research into occultism, secret societies, Freemasonry, you will find that Saturn dominates the whole subject.
Oh, okay. So apparently Saturn is a big deal amongst these occultists. And then there's a secret society about Saturn because I don't know. I don't completely understand that. I'm sure there's more research that I'm going to have to do. But the fact that he said there's something out there making the rings, that's super interesting.
Chinese producers are all over social media right now, and they're exposing just who is targeted by Trump's tariffs. And it's not the American consumers, and it's not the Chinese producers. It's actually our international corporations who have sold out American prosperity for their own profits. Let me illustrate. Let's use this example, Nike. Now, these are fictitious numbers just for example, but let's say that Nike buys shoes from this company that manufactures Nike shoes for $10 a Nike shoe, which isn't very far off. Nike turns around and sells that shoe at retail for $100. Here's the interesting part about tariffs. You're not paying tariffs on the retail price. This is not a tax in the classic sense. The way the economists who are bought and paid for are trying to conflate it as. It is a tax on the import. This means with a 25% tariff, Nike's going to have to pay $2.50 to the US government every time it imports a Nike shoe at $10. So this $2.50 gets remitted to the American government, to American citizens. Now Nike's cost $10 for the shoe, $2.50 for the import tax. This means they're netting $87 per shoe. Now that's net, not profit. There are going to be other costs that are going to have to come from that. But you can see that the increase in cost is $2.50. So let's say that Nike passes the entire cost onto the consumer, even a little more just because of the fear of tariffs. $103 a shoe now. That is the impact of a 25% tariff. So what the Chinese producers on TikTok are saying, instead of the American consumer buying it for $103, or let's just say that the company Nike eats all $2.50 of the tariff and still sells it for $100, you're way better off over here, paying directly to China, including the tariff, $12.50 a shoe plus shipping. So as you can see, the tariffs are not meant to hurt consumers. They're not meant to hurt China. They don't really affect China at all. They're meant to protect American industry. They're meant to protect Americans from their corporations who will sell them out for a profit. So if you look hard, you'll notice that the people who are screaming about how bad tariffs are for consumers, it's these companies right here. It's Wall Street. It's all the investors in these companies, because they don't want American citizens to realize these companies have sold them out and that they're not doing Americans any favors.
That was pretty well broken down. And there are a lot of videos now, everything all over the interwebs of Chinese, manufacturers showing that they're going out of business, not going out of business, but there's no production going on because everything's being sent back or canceled. And there's a lot of companies coming out and being like, hey, your designer bag that you pay $2,000 for costs $8. So a lot of people are getting upset at these big corporations. Unfortunately, a lot of small businesses who purchase their products from China as well are having some issues, and they're going to have to, figure it out. Buy American, you're still going to get a profit off of it. And it's just the whole world of profit is what it's all about. And it is absolutely frustrating.
In an epicenter 150 feet wide, everything was crystallized, fused, or melted. 180 feet from the center, the bricks are melted on one side, indicating a blast. Ancient Indian texts speak of a city's people being given 7 days to get out, a clear warning of total destruction. Excavations down to the street level revealed 44 scattered skeletons, as if doom had come so suddenly they could not get into their houses. All the skeletons were flattened to the ground. A father, mother, and child were found flattened in the street, face down and still holding hands. The skeletons, after thousands of years, are still among the most radioactive that have ever been found, on a par with those of Hiroshima. You'd have thought that should have been reported, in National Geographic or Reader's Digest. I never heard about these radioactive skeletons. Hell, if they're radioactive, that tells you somebody had radioactivity there. When was that? Did that occur sometime after Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I never heard of any bombings going on in India, have you? Since World War II? All right, and so we're digging this out. Archaeologists are digging these out. Now, somebody should have reported this. And indeed, somebody did. And then somebody buried the report. That's the thing that is so frustrating. And kind of bends your mind around a little bit, and you say, what the hell is all that about? It doesn't fit with the theory of evolution. These are ancient cities. They go back thousands of years. If mankind had nuclear weapons, nuclear technology thousands of years ago, then he was smarter thousands of years ago and got real dumb over a long period of time and is now just recovering from his terminal DUMS. That's what it tells you. Hell, that don't fit with evolution. So we're going to hide it. Just like that 14-foot skeleton that used to be up there in Chicago. Disappeared. There's more. Iraq. Melted ruins of a ziggurat structure not far from ancient Babylon. Appears as though fire had struck the tower and split it down to the very foundation. Brickwork was changed to a vitrified state, completely molten. The whole ruin is like a burnt mountain. Even large boulders found in the vicinity of the ruins have been vitrified. What power could have melted the bricks? Nothing but a monster thunderbolt or an atom bomb. Now here's something else. Did you know that when the first atomic bomb exploded in New Mexico, the desert sand turned to fused green glass?
Yes, I know he said nuclear, and I'm sorry. It's nuclear. Smart people. Why did they think it's okay to say nuclear? I don't get it. But still, yeah, there was technology that we didn't know about in the past in other places. Perhaps nuclear weaponry. I don't know. Things are irradiated. Things have radiation. And we're just kind of not talking about it because it doesn't fit the narrative. Whatever the narrative may be, past brilliance cannot be known.
The group of rich women who went into space. Wow, mark that under who gives a shit. These celebrities who are so disconnected from reality, I just find unbelievably annoying. And then I happened to see Katy Perry when she got off the spaceship thing, and she said, I feel so connected to love. And I thought, did you sit down and think, what is the most insufferable thing I can say? You do realize that the vast majority of people just trying to get by. All right, you're floating around in space for 11 minutes. Almost everyone else is just trying to figure out how to pay bills.
These elites are so completely and utterly disconnected with reality. 99% of us are just figuring out how to get by, and she's so connected to love. Oh my God. This whole thing just drives me up a wall. All right, I found a new story, and yeah, it's an alien-centered story because that's my jam. But let's check it out.
When I had my UFO experience, I saw what I think it was, a silver it was, but a circular craft.
Of course.
Why is their circular craft different to this one that was sent back?
You see the bottom? Look at the bottom. Look like heat tiles, right?
Yes.
This is living biology. And what you're seeing is the aura around it. The aura around it, living biology. It died after it crashed. And it went into two different places. I know it's getting very involved. There was Corona, and there was also Roswell. Part of it went there 10 years, part of it went back here 10 years. It's a time travel machine, remember. Now, what does it has to do? It has to go outside our atmosphere in order to time travel. We know time changes in the satellites, and the atomic clocks have to correct them, okay? So we understand space-time now to a certain point that the scientists have. Do they need to understand more? Yes. It's falling apart. It crashed.
I do apologize. Oh dear. Yes.
You know, it would take many, many hours for me to explain this. I'd be glad to do it because that's my subject.
No. Okay. So wasn't the Rendlesham Forest incident? Wasn't that craft supposed to be intelligent? And
Yes.
It said it was from the future.
Yes, and say everything is all right in the code. It said everything's all right in the future.
Then disappear.
Well, it can't stay.
No.
You know why it can't stay? It destabilized. All the crafts that have crashed have been taken back. It can't stay here.
Where is this craft now?
Back to where it belongs. The pieces. Not only the pieces. Now, my father had some pieces, but understand the Air Force took most of it. This was only what was put in a Jeep and put in a file. And then the file was delivered to my dad by General Trudeau when he came aboard in 1960. But the crafts can't stay here. It destabilizes.
So this would have been a biological
Entity.
conscious AI craft. These would have been the Ebens inside the craft.
These are night viewing devices. There's a 3.5 degree sweep here. Through the atmosphere, it flies this way. They view from the bottom. It has a field density device. Remember that word. The density is lower in the front and higher in the back. Field density device. Do I know how to build it? Absolutely.
Have you?
Well, let me tell you, when my dad was in Roswell revealing the book, Whitley Schreiber, I sat at the table with him in breakfast that morning. He says, and usually I'm not embarrassed. And he says, are you ready to build a craft? And I turn red in the face. I can't answer. My wife answers and says, she says, no, it's your father's time now. It's not your time. Now, does the military know how to do this and all? Yes, they have known for a long time. Do the civilians know how? No. It's a time-released schedule. Is it now? Can I release it? Yes.
What was that device at the front called? It was called a
field density device.
And what does that do?
It changes the density. Think about that for a minute. If you can control the density of matter, it's a technological advance that would be 2,000 years away.
So when this is moving, its density is changing as well, or has changed.
It can change the density, yeah, and that's how it travels through time. Remember, a tablespoonful of collapsed star can fall right through the Earth. Density. That's all the universe is. It's motion and density and space-time.
A lot of this stuff just goes, but at the same time, it's like, because all the space-time and aliens and the craft was alive and it's going through the density thing because in between like atoms, there's all the space, right? So it like changes it so it can go through it. But how does that make it able to travel through time when everything is moving super fast, right? You have to pinpoint exactly where this item is going to be during that time in order to travel there. It's a lot. It's so much, and my brain can't compute everything all at once, so I'm going to call it. We're going to continue watching this on Friday. There's, I think, 3 or 4 parts. Of course, I don't know, but we're going to continue watching it on Friday. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, won't you consider subscribing? And then come on back in a couple of days. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.
Goddess! Yeah, how long are we up here again? 11 minutes. Whee! Oh, there's my hair extension. Thanks, girl. These are for Gail. Amanda, isn't it crazy all the training you did for this? And I didn't. Oh my goddess! Wonderful. Oh, Gail, your Imodium hit my head again. Don't lose these, girl. You're really nervous. Wow, look how pretty I am. Where do I put it? Does anyone have an opener? This will fix my career. So many people out there. 1, 2, 3. Just the tip. Oh, taking up space.